I think lots of you here who have been on adventures of your own will know how addictive adventure can be. And I spent all of last summer out in Botswana and then in Australia diving with Nile crocodiles and saltwater crocodiles. Probably, without doubt, in fact, the scariest thing I have ever done in my entire life. I won't give too much away. The series is on BBC 2 next month, called Swimming with Crocodiles. And all I'll say is we had a rather close incident that left my cameraman very shaken and him without a camera. Part of the thrill, one of the attractions of adventure is that moment. It's like that little moment when you've just done it and you feel so happy and content and you've done it and you're physically, actually, ironically, you're not necessarily physically fit after a lot of these events because you really push yourself. But there is this moment of kind of ecstasy in the kind of week afterwards when you revel in satisfaction that you've completed something and you've done it. I say week, it depends on the scale of what you've done. But I think the place that really stood out for me that I just can't highlight or wax lyrical about enough was a very small island called Tristan da Cunha, which is in the South Atlantic, halfway between South Africa and South America. 300 people that live there. Very, very English. They've all got British passports. They've all got pictures of the Queen up. They drive Land Rovers. They've got 1 mile of road, and they have a policeman who goes out speed trapping. It's exactly like England. It really is a
David Attenborough. You know, he's so deep on our psyche. He's the voice of these programs, and it's really interesting. When he presents something like this, I find myself walking along the beach doing a piece to camera, and at the end, you sound like David Attenborough, you can't help it. You're like, so the sea level rose and the hill became an island. And Brits be like, you might want to do that again. Sounding like David Attenborough. So, the interesting thing about presenting a series like this is that's what you see on the final cut, of course. You see this beautiful environment and you see a man alone. You know, enjoying that environment and celebrating it and loving being there. Actually, when you shoot a thing like that, this is actually what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 5 Muppets who follow me around absolutely everywhere. And it's a very intimidating thing because all of these guys are world class at what they do. They are the leaders in their field. And I found that was quite hard, you know, that to actually be presenting to, because you don't present to millions of people, you present to the camera crew, of course. But we talk about favourite encounters, we had a quick chat about it before. For me, the minke whale would be right up there. It's an encounter where the animal entirely controls the encounter. So you hang off the back of the boat on this bit of rope and you look down and you're looking at 10 tons, well, you know, 5, 6, 7 tons of whale just appearing out of the, you know, this sort of sapphire blue beneath you, and gradually it solidifies, and then you see the white pectoral fins of a minke whale, and it comes up, and you feel the, you know, this very deep, very resonant, percussive voice. You feel it in your chest, and it just comes closer and closer and closer until you're eye to eye with a whale. And an extraordinary sensation. The animals very plainly study you. And I think for me that was such an amazing experience. We all go. But the other thing I must say about presenting underwater is, are any divers here, just out of interest? Oh good, fair few. The diving fraternity, certainly when it comes to forums, are unbelievably kind of nerdy about kit and trim. Trim is like how you hang in the water and things like that, and you get extraordinary emails from people saying, I noticed in Sequence 1 you were wearing an Oceanic D9 computer, yet later on in that sequence you plainly had a D6 without the transmitter. And my question to you is, why haven't I got a girlfriend? You do sort of encounter this slightly sort of weird, you know, element. But there's a greater concentration of tiger sharks around Rain Island than probably anywhere else in the world. And we did a couple of sequences that really stand out. One was a turtle carcass, and there were 5 different species of shark feeding on this turtle carcass simultaneously. And Briggs thought it would be a good idea for me to stand in the shallows and talk about this feeding activity going on. It's all in the background, very visceral, very primal scene. So I stood in the shallows and I spoke to our shark expert, Richard, and I said, I'm all right in here, aren't I? He was like, oh mate, he says, you're fine. Most of them are nurse sharks. He said, they just suck the flesh off the prey. They've got bony plates, they just like... And as he said that, this thing went, and just shook this thing to pieces, you know. And one of the grey nurses, do you remember, broke off. And I did this kind of river dance out the shallows as this thing kept following me. But later...
Not so good. This is Guadalupe, which is a little island off the Pacific coast of Mexico. And it's about 150 miles offshore. And the nice thing about Guadalupe is it's out in the middle of the ocean. And so you get a lot of great white sharks there. They also have fantastic visibility. On an average day, the visibility is about 100 feet. So it's almost like being out in the open air. And the sharks are coming right in. You watch them from cages like this. I've been going since the very first year they used to do great white shark cage diving there. And the first year, they didn't really get their act together in terms of the cages. And you didn't have, this is a good shark-proof cage, you didn't have these cross clips. So it was basically a collection of big, wide open spaces. And you could easily slip out into the shark's world outside. And twice when I was in the cage, the sharks got in the cage with me. Which sort of defeats the whole object of being in the cage. Amazing. Well, it says a lot about sharks, though, doesn't it? Because, you know, that's a really close encounter, not just close to the shark, but actually stuck in a cage with the shark. And nothing happened, it just wanted to get out and it wriggled out of it. These are bats. Straw-coloured fruit bats, and there's one national park called Kasanka National Park. It's in Zambia, right on the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. Really remote area, and it's known basically for these bats, and it has a colony of 8 million fruit bats. And they reckon this colony of 8 million bats eats 5,000 tons of fruit every night. So you basically walk a lot of time in the Molong Panda Reserve in southwestern China, and once saw a panda. Again, it's just unbelievable luck. I was on an anti-poaching patrol, and these guys hadn't seen a wild panda for 3 years. It was the first day of the patrol. We're walking through the bamboo forest, and literally a split second, a panda walked out of the bamboo on the path right in front of us, a wild panda, looked straight at us, and instead of taking a picture, I just swallowed my tongue and gulped, and it walked off into the bamboo on the other side. It was a 2-second encounter, but that was really special. But the odds of going there, as I say, they hadn't seen one, and they're in the field every day. It's like an avian Glastonbury. You know, you land on the beach around the corner here, a place called St Andrews, and on a good day, you'll pick your way through up to 5,000 elephant seals, all lounging around on the beach. You'll get chased by a few Antarctic fur seals, and as you approach the corner here, you'll hear this noise. And you turn the corner, and there in front of you is this massive colony of 150,000 pairs of king penguins, all standing shoulder by shoulder, all talking to one another, waddling about. And people just stand there with mouths open. You can't say anything. It's such an extraordinary experience. And to be there with a small group of people with so much wildlife is just wonderful. It's just mind-boggling. Giant tortoises, well, some of the giant tortoises in Galapagos Islands would have actually been there when Darwin was there in the mid-1830s. They're so old, it's quite a cool